Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Various Stages of Growth podcast for episode 25. And honestly, Will, I can't believe we've made it this far.
No,
But
episode
thank you for joining
25.
us.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Episode 25. Thank y'all for joining us. We're back. It's been a quite a hiatus. I think we're averaging a show every month and a half now. So that's not necessarily good. I thought we were
Yeah,
flying to 25 and then all of a sudden we just, and I'll take the ownership. We had a speed bump that.
look, life gets in the way, right? Like things
Oh
pop
yeah.
up, unexpected stuff. This is the fun part of life, and then there's other stuff that happens that you can't control. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, life got on the way, all right. And life wouldn't get out of the way. But yeah, man, we're here. We got we got a ridiculous amount of stuff to talk about. Like
it's been
ridiculous.
it's been insane.
Like
It, it,
I don't
it
even
it's
know. Yeah. I don't know where to start.
between movies and toys and all that stuff. It's all over the place. This
A lot of
this
news.
episode.
A lot of news. So yeah, full disclosure, folks, this may be a two-parter. We'll see where this goes. See how much energy we have. I know we got some energy. I know we got a little bit of feistiness. I
Yeah,
know
definitely.
yeah, because there's been a lot going on. So this will be one of those episodes that serves as a therapy session. Um, More than anything else, we'll give everyone a heads up right then and there.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be all over the place, complaining, crying about
Oh yeah,
all the good stuff that we like and all the first world problems that we have.
absolutely. And so we're just going to kind of indulge in those first world problems for a while, and we're going to do what we do best, which is make it seem like these things that are not really important are the world to us. And we'll probably complain about them and applaud some and cry about some and shout. You might even laugh, Matt. You might even laugh today. Um, but
You know
yeah,
what?
man,
I
we
hope
had so
so.
much going
A
on.
well-rounded emotional episode.
Yeah, because that's us, man. I mean, we are in various stages of growth. Um, we're all trying to, you know, get to that place of growth, of self-awareness, of self-enlightenment. We're just, we're taking the sort of a backwards path to get there.
Yeah, and look, before we get onto this journey of growth, like Will said, as always, please follow us on Twitter at VSG Podcast. Find us on YouTube, Anchor, iTunes. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the stuff that helps us out. You guys know what it is. If you don't have Twitter, you can always email the show at vsgrowthpodcast@gmail.com. Reach out, talk to us, get engaged. We want to hear what you guys are thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us have it. I mean, look, we had so much going on. It's been a while. So, like I said, this is going to be a big show. Might be a two-parter. We got so much going on that we want to cover. I know we've jotted down to talk about. We'll see where we put our energy. But as always, we're not going to plan much. We'll just go where the show takes us. But how you been doing, Matt? Just overall, it's been a while. Anything new, exciting? I know you went to Comic Con, shared that last time. Now you're kind of in that lull where you got nothing going on. So what? Just get ready for Black Panther, or what have you been up to?
Yeah, pretty much just kind of hanging out, taking in all the news. I mean, this week coming up is a pretty big week. Wednesday, God of War. I'll be playing that pretty much all night and into all day. Then you got Black Panther on Thursday. Call of Duty just came out. We're going to dig into all these video games that came out. So the
Oh
video
yeah,
games are going to be a heavy part of the next month and a half.
yeah. Oh, and I got some stuff to say about some video games, so it's going to be fun when we get there. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I've been doing the same. I've been doing a lot of gaming, um, and I've been trying to catch up on some things that I haven't seen. Still haven't seen Joker yet, full disclosure. But now I'm at the point where I like want to wait for the sequel. Like I'm gonna do the same thing I did with Avatar, so that I'm finally gonna be able to watch Avatar. Um, but yeah, man, I've just been catching up. Honestly, just been going over having some time, or not having a lot of time. Um, I got kind of, I don't know about you, but I got a lot of stuff come in right around the time after you went to Comic Con, and
Yeah.
really doing some soul searching on some things now of what I want to keep and what needs to go and how much I want to actually collect and move it. So a lot of my energy, if for any free time I have had, and it's been like odd hours, is just going through my office here and restructuring some things. You can see in the back one of my shelves over there is, I wiped a whole shelf clean. I'm reorganizing, trying to move stuff out. But it's yeah, man, we're coming up on the holidays, so if I'm gonna be asking for anything else or expecting anything else, I better get rid of a bunch of stuff first.
Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of the same with you. I got hit with a ton of pre-orders all at once. It was like a course of like 10 days where it was like 8 or 9 different pre-orders of, whether it was Black Series figures, Marvel Legends figures, Funko Pops, and it was just coming in droves. And it really makes you evaluate, like, do I need this and why do I buy it?
Right, right. It makes you evaluate life choices. It also makes you, I don't know about you, man, but it makes me evaluate where the heck did they come up with these dates for the pre-orders? Like
Yeah.
I never like to me, I was thinking like April 2023 on like 5 of these things that just showed up last week. So there's no rhyme or reason. There's stuff
You know
I've
what?
ordered last
I,
October I don't have, but then there's stuff that's like, oh, it's coming next April, and it shows up 2 months later.
we've talked about it with the pre-orders and kind of like where the whole state of that is, and I think they kind of just they give you one that's so far out to not disappoint you if it goes past that, and then they ship it 3 months early.
Well, it disappoints my credit card. I mean, that thing's taking a beating. I'm
Well,
paying the
yeah,
bill at the end of the month. That's the problem. It's all of a sudden I get my credit card bill, and I was like, oh my god, because it all hit at once. But like, I don't know. The
yeah,
dates were so out of whack. I was getting stuff, left and right that was not supposed to be coming to like second quarter of next year hitting already. And then there's other stuff I'm still waiting on over a year now. And so, yeah, man. So I've been doing that, going through stuff. Like I said, been gaming, trying to catch up on some things, and just living the dream here.
yeah. Well, look, let's get into some of this news because we have a ton of stuff to talk about. As
Yes.
always, we're going to start where we always start: movie and TV. So, look, I'm going to run through a couple of these things real quick, and I'm going to ask you one big question at the end. Black Adam's making a ton of money. James Gunn and Peter Safran are taking over DC. Matt Reeves is expanding his universe with different villains movies. James Gunn is doing a mystery movie for DC. Henry Cavill is officially back as Superman. Let me pose the question to you. Is DC doing something good finally?
I want to say yes, but I know if I say it out loud, it won't come true. Everything will fall apart. Um, yeah, man. So a couple things. Let's get into it. Like I said, we won't spend too much time on everything because there's a lot there, but let's go through it. Let's start with Black Adam, okay? Because I got some things to say, and I've seen Black Adam. I went and saw it opening weekend. I have never
Mhm.
seen a film review bombed more than Black Adam. They were calling this thing the
Yeah.
worst superhero movie ever made. You can't do that when Batman and Robin exists. You can't
Or
do
things like
that.
Elektra,
Right.
Ben Affleck's Daredevil,
Right. Like
Blade
the
3.
the Punisher movies with Thomas Jane. Like there's been some Ghost Rider 1 and 2.
Yeah.
No offense
How
to
can we
Nick
forget
Cage out
those?
there. No, I love Nick Cage, but I watch for him. But and so I understand that's hyperbole. But at when you look at all the press that was surrounding that movie, and I'll give you an example. Here's what it reminded me of, but I also enjoyed it more as a movie than this movie because the other movie. Well, I'll get to it. It'll make sense. I can't talk. The coffee's not kicking in yet.
Midway through,
But
it will.
yeah, midway through, I'll get angry. I'll stub my toe. Beast Man will fall on me again. One of the things I remember with the Venom, when Venom came out and it got
Mhm.
trashed by and made a ton of money, but got trashed by reviews. Here's the thing. I like Venom as it's so over the top, corny, and ridiculous. It's very entertaining. I
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily call that whatever. And I'm not calling Black Adam a work of art, but it is certainly not the worst comic book movie of all time. It did more things right than it did wrong. So where all the hate came for it, I have my theories and I don't want to go there, but I kind of shared some. I just feel like because it didn't serve some sort of um, I don't know, because it was a film that didn't serve as part of a shared universe or come before it, that it was just going to be unjudged unfairly. Because I'll tell you what, like I liked Aquaman, I really did. I enjoyed
Mhm.
this more than Aquaman. I wanted to
Wow.
go see
That's
this. Because Aquaman, I liked Aquaman, but I don't know. I wasn't like when it was done, I wasn't like, oh, I got to go see it again.
yeah.
Um, and I'm not saying it's a better movie than Aquaman, but I would watch it again because of some things it did right. So I'm willing to, I guess, to look over a couple of the things, a couple of the side plot with the scientist and the son got kind of lame, but everything they did with the JLA was spot on, and it was entertaining as all can be. I'm sorry, with the JSA, everything that kind of his backstory and his demeanor, and I saw there, oh well, Rock's uncharismatic and all these other things. Like it's The Rock, like the dude's the most charismatic guy in the world. He's playing a
Yeah, 100%.
character who's just like no personality. Doesn't I mean, so to me, it's like I read these reviews, I went and I'm like, this is not the same movie. It was very, I mean, I enjoyed it. And so I go into this thinking that I don't know what DC could do to get out of it because I just feel like they're just going to be constantly trashed. No, whatever. They're not going to get a fair shake.
You know what? You know what it is, and I
I'm,
think DC falls into this trap, and it's kind of it's a terrible way to look at it. But everybody holds the Dark Knight in such high regards. Not every movie is
mhm.
going to be the Dark Knight. Not every movie even
No,
needs to be that type of movie. Aquaman does not need to be the Dark Knight. I don't need cinematic masterpieces, releasing for every single movie. And even if you switch pages and look at Marvel, that's not what happens.
no. And there are Marvel movies, I've said it on this podcast, that I have no interest in watching again.
Oh yeah, I can. There's at least 5 or 6 that come to mind almost immediately.
Right. And a couple of them have come out within the last 2 years. And
Yeah.
and it's like so like I have no desire to go back and watch this the fourth Thor movie again. I have no
No,
desire to
no
rewatch
need
that.
for it.
None. I would go back. I definitely when Black Adam comes out on HBO Max, I'm definitely watching it again because I
Mhm.
enjoyed enough of the actual film. We'll get to the post credit, spoilers. It's only been 3-4 weeks, but
Is it even a
yeah, man.
spoiler at this point anymore? That
No,
they've
it's not.
confirmed it.
They've confirmed everything, but it's I'm telling you, man. Like, yes, was it on par with the top echelons of comic? No, of course not. But was it as bad? No, and I think it was even above average. Some of the action pieces in this were fantastic, and the comic book parts with the JSA, with Black Adam, and some of the stuff like when he just goes nuts and unleashes his power, it's fantastic.
Mhm.
Like they don't, it's violent as all can be. They don't hold back. So I don't know, and I see, oh well, it's so aggro. It's a freaking comic book movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm so tired, man. Um, okay, I think the coffee's kicking in. I'm
There it
so
is.
tired of just because it doesn't fit a certain mold. And I'm gonna say this and tick people off, and I don't care. Because when it doesn't fit the Marvel formula that we just gotta trash everything. Like
Mhm.
it's I'm sorry. It's because it doesn't follow that whole thing. But I will say this. One of the things the DC movies have gotten killed for in the past couple of years is the lack of humor. Other than basically Shazam had some,
Yeah.
and there were light moments. This had not necessarily wasn't had some playful back and forth, not forced humor that wasn't corny over the top. Doctor Strange walking around in a hoodie saying stuff, calling them the Scooby Doo. I mean, it wasn't that. It was just a banter. And to me, it's like I don't know, man. I have never seen a movie get more review bombed and maybe it's because it was sort of like a throwback to old comic book movies. It didn't have all these crazy, subplots, because it wasn't linked to anything else. It was its own thing. But to me, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, look. Honestly, I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm one of those people who did get the extra credit scene spoiled kind of before the movie even released, so I kind of just took a back seat. I'll get to it eventually. But this did seem kind of like a movie where it was received well by the fans, and it was more the critics who were kind of trashing the movie,
Yeah,
which
but
goes which is how it goes with a lot of these films.
yeah. Well, and unless honestly, unless you're a Marvel movie, because even the movies that get panned, like when the reviews came out for the previews of Black Adam, it started getting dumped on all over the place.
Mhm.
Every Marvel movie, even Thor, even the Eternals, even a couple getting rave reviews on this, and then afterwards people see and go, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to just compare DC to Marvel, but we're just talking comic books movies over. This was not the worst comic book movie of all time, not by a long shot. It was quite entertaining for what it was. It set up the character of Black Adam in his role in the DCU. It set up the JSA, and I'm dying for a Hawkman spinoff show.
Mhm.
HBO Max, like I want it like yesterday. And there were just some really good pieces. Like I said, it's not, the greatest movie of all time, comic book wise, but it wasn't the worst. And to see it labeled as the worst and 1 star, no stars, to me, that's when you start talking to people who have these hidden agendas when they write these articles. And that's why you just shared a bunch of good news when we came on here. I don't know what DC can do to get positive news. Like, I don't know what, because I think no matter what, they're going to get trashed in some way in this. And believe me, the stuff they've got criticized for, heck, we criticized the heck out of them on the show.
Yeah, it's well deserved.
Yeah, but like, I'm gonna be honest too. It wasn't really until the spoiler of that end credit scene leaked where I was like, I was on the fence, Black. I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll see it. We'll see it. But once I heard that, I'm like, all right, I gotta go. And I'm glad I did, because I enjoyed the movie. It wasn't always,
Mhm.
just the post credit scene, because that was, like 30 seconds. But if they are really, if the stuff you read is coming to fruition, and the stuff that James Gunn's putting out, and the stuff that Henry Cavill's saying, so if they are really putting this together, and they're acknowledging the fans, and they are, and like I said, you acknowledge the fans, you don't cater to them, because then that's when you get yourself in trouble. But you acknowledge it, you take it, and you start. Then I'm finally hopeful that we'll start putting things together. Like James Gunn, two times in the DCU with both Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad, and Peacemaker were tremendous. Were
Yeah,
tremendous. I mean,
two
I love
hits.
Peacemaker. Peacemaker, one of my favorite things of recent comic in recent memory. I love that show. That was phenomenal, and I enjoyed the new Suicide Squad movie. So, two good movies, like that's off to a good start. You give me more of that, I'll be fine. And I don't think you need to be Marvel, because those things were certainly totally un-Marvel like. We'll see what Marvel does with
Yeah.
Deadpool, but those are, you can. I'm not saying you got to make all the movies like that, but you have that little realm of DC where you can have a little bit of fun and do that stuff. So yeah, man. To answer your question in a long-winded way, which is what I'm doing, I am. Listen, finally, and I said, finally having Henry Cavill back as Superman is fantastic, because
It's insane that it's finally real, right? Because
oh yeah,
we've talked about how long the rumors have gone on for. I mean, at this point, it's been 5-6 years where it's always coming back, he's coming back, and now to finally have it official is awesome,
yeah,
and
and
something
I
we thought we would never get.
no, and I think it's I'm gonna say this, and I remember telling you this way, way, way back when I saw Man of Steel. I forget the critics. I don't look at the reviews and stuff. I love that movie, and I remember saying to you, I was like, that was the best Superman movie I've ever seen. And did I have my problems with the scenes everyone does? Yes, more
Yeah.
so. But as it played out, I didn't agree with it, but I understood the story they were telling. Like, this was the origin story. And the biggest injustice, that's I'm not trying to be, dropping
Pun
puns here.
intended.
Right. But the biggest injustice I always felt was that you went right from Man of Steel into Batman vs Superman and never had a proper
Yeah.
Man of Steel 2. And to get that, or get something like that out of this, if that's done, yeah, man, I couldn't be happier. Or getting a few movies, because to me, and I've said this, and I'm biased, I can get it, and I love Batman, I do, but you've gotta take your time, and you've gotta put your energy behind, and you've got to do Superman right. If you want
Yeah.
to ever forget be Marvel, you're not going to be Marvel. You're not going to beat Marvel, but you want to compete and you want to stand out. I've said this 100 times. The two most recognizable superheroes in the world are Superman and Batman, and Spider-Man's a
Yeah.
close third. I mean, but worldwide, I'm not talking, all over, but worldwide, it's Superman, Batman. You've got those two properties. Figure it out. Figure it out. You know.
Yeah.
So
And
hopefully
look,
they did.
to kind of couple with that, with the Henry Cavill news, that we have a story, we were going to bring it up later, but it's a good time to bring it up now. He's not coming back for more seasons of The Witcher. Is that a result of him being part of DC? Does this mean they're going to kind of fast track a Superman movie? I don't know, but the timing all seems very convenient.
It does. The only thing I would say is there were some comments. I guess they've done some writer changes, and there's some rumblings that he was unhappy behind the scenes because they were changing too much from the actual books and
Mhm.
the game, which he's a big fan of. And who knows? They'll never say the true story. And I do know he's got a couple. I think he's got another project he just signed on to. I want to say it might be even. I don't know if it's a Christopher Nolan. I got to see. I know there's something else. So I know he's got something else he's currently going to film. So I'm hoping they can fast track a Superman and maybe make it the next project. There was a leak yesterday that they were meeting with Steven Spielberg discussing a
I
possible
did see that. Yeah.
Superman. So who knows? I mean, the rumors are going to fly. I just think that one of the things, and he alluded to this on his Twitter. I know Twitter's a dirty word now, but that's a whole other podcast. He alluded to James Gunn alluded to his Twitter that he's usually very active on social media and just hasn't been as
Yeah.
active as he had in the past. But I do think within reason, you can't say everything, but I do think we'll get some transparency. Which to me, I'm going to say something, and you know this. My biggest issue with DC the last couple of years, even on the comic side, was just a lack of transparency. And I
Yeah.
don't mean canceling fandom, but even on fandom, they didn't give us stuff. Like they would announce things and they would just sort of like fade out until they die in the vine. And it was frustrating where Marvel comes in, lays out this grand plan, follows through with it.
Yeah. Here's the
And
next 10 years
DC's
of your life.
right. Here's the next thing, and here's what's gonna happen, and everything's connects, and DC's just throwing darts and seeing what hits. And I feel like they're going to at least try. And we talked about it's not easy, but try to get some semblance of order off the ground. But think about this: you've got Shazam coming up in a couple months.
Hmm.
You got Aquaman wrapping up, and you've got who knows what the Flash. I mean, so you've got 3 projects, quote unquote, pretty much done. Aquaman's wrapping up. If that next project's going to fall in the bucket as this next extended thing, like what do? Do you fast track Superman? Are these
Yeah,
rumblings about Ben
it's
Affleck
weird
getting his own
because
Batman movie? Do they fast track something there?
it's weird because, like you said, we have those 3 movies, but then after that, there's really nothing. There's no
Mm.
movie coming out in 2024 for DC that we know of. Now, look, I assume they're going to release something because I highly doubt they're going to skip, releasing films for an entire year. So,
Right.
like you said, is that the Superman movie? Do they do something with Wonder Woman? Is it a new character that we don't even know? Maybe they put Blue Beetle in the movie theaters and not HBO Max,
I
kind of
forgot.
as
Yep.
like
Yep.
space filler, but it'll be
And
interesting to see where that does go.
and I apologize. I forgot about Blue Beetle, but I thought we discussed. I think that was still slated for HBO, right? Was it still slated for HBO Max, or was that going to be in the theater? Blue Beetle. Oh, we're having freezing moments again. Blue Beetle, was that always scheduled for HBO Max, or that was going to be theater release as well?
What
Blue Beetle.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me? Oh no, it's like the witching hour. We've hit it again. Hello. So Matt's
Can you hear
spinning.
me? Are we
Now
back?
Matt's back. Yeah, you were spinning. You were a little wheel, man. You were just spinning
Oh
around.
my god.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I don't
I
know
was
what's going on. It's like I live in a blackout area.
no, it's fine. I just saw you spinning. I'm like, dude, spinning. He just disappeared like into the void. No, I was saying about Blue Beetle. That's still on schedule right now, as we know, with the HBO Max, right?
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
said that is not getting canceled at all. They're 100% moving forward with it and releasing it. So
Okay. So there you go. But like I said, that would be theatrical. They're going to have to fast track something here. We got to get news soon about the next theatrical thing. I know we went nuts on a text thread about give James Gunn a Green Lantern Corps movie and just let him go wild with all
it
that.
would
That
be
would be
unbelievable.
fantastic. Oh, be fantastic. But I
And
mean,
look, as far as we know, the Matt Reeves Batman sequel doesn't even have a release date. So I highly doubt it's going to be that.
no, and they're pretty much saying that both with that and the Todd Phillips Joker sequel, it's its own thing. It's through Warner Studios. It's not through the DC thing. It's going to operate, in
Yeah.
a different kind of hierarchy. So yeah, man, we've got Shazam, Flash, Aquaman, and then Blue Beetle, HBO Max. But they're going to have to announce something too and go into production some point next year if they want a movie ready for the end of 2024. And I don't
Yeah,
see them I just don't see Superman if they fast track the Superman, even if they started filming, mid to early next year with the effects and everything. I don't see that ready to 2025, the earliest.
yeah. Realistically, unless they're writing something that we don't even know about right now, it's hard to find something that they're going to be able to get done that quick.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I mean, look, for the first time, let's put it this way. For the first time in a long time, I have hope. I'm still curious to see what's going to happen with The Flash and The Flash 2. I'm curious they're going to get that Penguin TV show off the ground that's set in the Batman universe. But yeah, man, I not this news about Matt Reeves expanding the universe. Absolutely, I want a darn Professor Pig movie like that. You know how
Especially
creepy that would
set in
be.
that type of universe, that kind of dark,
Oh,
gritty, it could be genuinely terrifying.
absolutely.
Because
Yes.
look, if you don't know who Professor Pig is, look him up, read some comics about him. I think he was even in the last Arkham game. I think it was Arkham Knight he was
Mhm.
in. It's a very disturbing take on a character and something that would plug in perfectly to that universe.
And I just think they need to start playing in that sandbox a little more because that's the thing. You're not going to wholly reimagine Batman or Superman or anything, but you've got so many untapped villains
Yeah.
and things you can do with you know, as I'm playing with Deathstroke over here, but you know, but like that you can put on the on and give a good story with these characters that have their own history and their own and it's just going untapped right now. So I'm hoping. Look, I love the Joker. I love the Penguin. I get it, you know. But let's start. You know, Mister Freeze, Riddler. Batman's got a heck of a rose gallery. Superman's got more than just Lex Luthor. He
Yeah.
can, you know, fight. So let's dig in. Let's see Brainiac. Give me a Bizarro like zombie type movie. Like go crazy with it. You know, give me something like crazy, like just some alternate universe. Like give me like him versus Superman Prime. Like do something different. Do
Yeah.
something different.
For me, this Matt Reeves news, the most interesting name on that list is Clayface, because
Hmm.
Clayface is more fantastical and very comic booky, with all the transforming and stuff. I'm curious to see how they would pull that off in this universe, because
Well,
it
not
doesn't seem like a character that would fit.
No, and it's a fantastic character to play because
Yeah,
whoever's playing him, you really just have to supply the voice, and you could recast it every single role. So that character could never go away because he could just take on different forms and stuff.
yeah,
You know, so I'm with you, man. Like there's so much untapped live action movies, and it's you know, it's exciting. Like I'll never forget when I saw Batman Begins, and they finally, you know, they tapped into Ra's al Ghul and started bringing that in, and I
mhm,
was like, it was exciting
yeah,
because I hadn't seen that, and it was always Joker, Penguin, Riddler, Mister Freeze. You know, the big thing was like, oh, we're going outside the box, we're bringing in Bane. You know, don't get me
yeah. I
started.
wish they didn't.
No, you know, so you know, Catwoman, it's fine. They can just there's so much they can do, and there's so much they can do with some of these characters. Um, oh, they did announce, and I'm sorry, we can go on to something else because I could talk about this all day. We might have to do a bonus episode, but they did announce or where is it with the Keanu Reeves Constantine sequel?
As of right now, it's just it official. It was officially announced,
I think it was
right?
officially announced. Yeah, I
That
thought
they're
it
bringing him
was.
back for Constantine 2, which, look, if you would have told me this was going to happen 6 months ago, I would have told you you're out of your mind. But
Mhm.
the way Warner Brothers is going with DC, it seems like anything is on the table.
Yeah,
Anybody who's been in a DC movie, if you were semi good and the fans like you have a shot of coming back.
yeah, man. You know, let's get Ryan Reynolds get his Green Lantern costume back. But yeah, no, it's funny. I just rewatched that first movie. I hadn't seen it in years, and I was like, man, I can't believe they're making a sequel. And I'm split on it. I enjoy that movie for what it is, but obviously, it's not a faithful adaptation of
Yeah, it's
the
it's a
hell.
little
You
different.
know,
it's
yeah,
it's definitely a
Hellblazer. But
unique take.
yeah, but whatever, man. I will say
But
I
look,
have
if
hope.
you're
The Henry Cavill stuff was enough to buoy me for a couple of weeks, and now with all these other news coming out, I feel like we're moving in the right direction.
yeah, give me Constantine 2 with Keanu Reeves is kind of like a jumping off point for like a Justice League Dark movie.
Yeah, I mean,
I like a Keanu Reeves led Justice League Dark movie could be something pretty awesome.
yeah, because I know they've canceled stuff. They and I'll tell you what, they another show that in God, I can go this all day, but Swamp Thing was tremendous, and that got canceled after
Yeah.
one season. Like it was that you were heading in the right direction with that. So let's get that together and go with it. Let's go with it.
Well,
But I'm with you,
didn't they
man. So
didn't
maybe
they
they have a
have a didn't they have a didn't wasn't Guillermo del Toro attached to like Justice League Dark at some point, and it
yes.
never happened, and then they had the Zatanna spinoff, which was like a
The Tana
show
spinoff
that
got
got
canceled,
canceled. So
canceled.
so so there's scripts written for all these things that they could pull from and kind of piece together into a one movie.
And I think J.J. Abrams was somehow attached to that too, the
Yeah.
Justice League Dark. That's something he wanted to do. So yeah, man, there's so many characters. Look, I love DC. I love Marvel. At the end of the day, I could tell you more about the DC universe than Marvel. Not that I don't know. I have deep love for Hulk, Spider-Man, X-Men, but overall, like I was a DC kid growing up, so my knowledge base is really rooted in that. And there are so many characters just untapped, and that's why I'm really rooting for this Blue Beetle movie because if it does well, it may open the doors. And like seeing Doctor Fate on screen,
Mhm.
seeing Hawkman on screen, like it was tremendous. And they did the characters justice, which was the best part about it. They were just not there for like a throwaway part. So that it shows they've got these characters they can use and bring to the forefront, something Marvel does wonderfully, and they've
Yeah.
just been stumbling with it. So hopefully they can finally get it together.
Well, look, you bring up Marvel. Let's jump to the other side. Let's get into some Marvel news. First off, Silver Surfer Disney Plus special in development, supposedly supposed to release before the Fantastic Four movie. Look, coming off the success of Werewolf by Night and how awesome that was, give me as many of these specials as you want because I'm all in on all of them.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for these specials. Yeah, I'm curious where they go in this, but like this has now become so now that we have Superman out of the way with Henry Cavill back, the next bane of my existence is going to be the Fantastic Forecasting. So until
Yeah,
that happens,
it's the most
I
top
don't
secret
care.
thing in the world. You'll never know.
Right. Never know. So we don't know who's Silver Surfer, who's going to be the Fantastic Four, are they bringing in Galactus, like all that stuff. So I'm going to wait till there's some movement before I get excited because I'm still, look, I'm like everyone excited for Wakanda Forever coming out, next week. So that's a different story. But, or actually coming out this week. I forgot what week we're
Yeah,
in. I
Thursday.
forgot it's Monday. Yeah, it's coming out this week. But we talked about this overall, phase 4. I'm sort of like,
Yeah, it hasn't
Werewolf by
been
Night was my favorite thing. Yeah,
yeah, Werewolf by Night's the best thing. I think I've watched it for a third time recently.
yeah, that's my favorite thing of Phase 4. So Wakanda Forever, thank God's gonna to wrap it up, and I'm sure that'll close it out with a bang. But yeah, Phase 4 has been kind of lackluster. Um, I've liked a little bit some of the Disney Plus shows, really, a lot, and then the other ones are sort of like, eh. So yeah, I'm excited about the future when you bring in the Fantastic Four, bringing in the X-Men. But until we get there, I'm sort of like, let's see where it goes. Um, yeah, so Ant-Man's gonna be good litmus test when that comes out.
Well, speaking of Ant-Man, they dropped a trailer for Ant-Man. First look at kind of Kang and what that universe is going to be and what that movie's going to be. What are your thoughts on this trailer?
Uh, it serves its purpose. I'm a little taken aback. I know there's been whispers and rumors, and from the trailer, it looks like Scott Lang's about to get his what handed to him.
Yeah,
And
I
there's
think so.
rumors whether he doesn't make it out of this movie or what happens. Or I'm gonna say this, and I know I'm going on a side tangent, but that the coffee's finally kicked in. Oh, God, I'm gonna go back. I swear to God, I'm not gonna bring up DC again, but I'm gonna say something. One of the advantages that I see that DC has an opportunity here, and I want to see how Marvel does this. Like, I'm really intrigued, and I know bringing in the X-Men and Fantastic Four is going to help. But when you start, if you knock, and I know, look, I know Scott Lang wasn't the original Ant-Man. I understand that. Okay, Michael
Mhm.
Douglas is too old to be Hank Pym, but
Yeah,
if
I don't
you,
think they want to pay to DH him for like 3 or 4
yeah,
movies.
but if you get rid of Paul Rudd and Scott Lang, and that character, and you start wiping out the legacy characters to build all these younger characters up, but you lose all your where you don't bring Captain back and Iron Man, you replace with Ironheart and stuff. One of the advantages DC has is Batman's still around. You're bringing back
Yeah,
Superman, so I'm interested to see how Marvel plays this. If the rumors are true, and they're obviously they aged up his daughter, and is she going to take over and all that stuff. And I left the trail like he's in for a rude awakening, whether he makes it out of this movie or not. Is that what's going to build up? Kang to be this, evil Thanos type kind of intimidating guy. And
yeah,
yeah, but I don't know if I want to see it. Like, I still think that's part of, well, I think that's part of why people are, I know that's why I've struggled with phase 4. Like, I feel like, yeah, Spider-Man aside, because that's like its own thing.
yeah,
You've lost a lot of these legacy characters that you were with for 3 years, and the ones you've kept, Thor's got a son that I'm not even say what I want to say. That does not look, like similar. Like they've made Hulk irrelevant. I'm sorry, Hulk's got a son, and Hulk's irrelevant with his son now scarred. He's still Professor Hulk. Thor has become a joke after the movie. So those are your two legacy characters. Think about it. Like,
I
you
mean,
think
I
about
guess
who's
technically
left.
Doc Strange is still out there, right?
Doctor
He's doing
Strange is
his
still
thing,
out there,
multiverse
and
hopping.
right. So Doctor Strange is. So I thought there you have Hawkman, which I love that. I actually really enjoyed that show. He's kind of he's a happier Hawkeye, and sorry, not Hawkman, Hawkeye. You have a happier Hawkeye, and you have Doctor Strange out there. But like Thor's out there, but he's got a kid now, his adopted
Yeah, I mean,
kid.
technically,
Hulk's got the son, and he's Professor Hulk. It's like the legacy. If you look at that first Avengers poster, it ain't, it ain't the same anymore.
oh,
So
it's over.
yeah,
I mean,
and
look,
then
I guess you technically still have Bucky, who's been around since the beginning,
mhm,
but he's always been a side character, right? He's not the main guy, and then you have Sam Wilson taking over as Captain America, which we haven't really seen a ton of yet. We're waiting for
mhm,
that fourth Captain America movie.
yep. But and so that's when I watched the trailer, I'm like, it don't look good for Ant-Man. It looks like, and I'm not, maybe he does make it out, but he's, gets his butt kicked, but he looks like he's going to have it handed to him, um, which is fine building up Kang. But I'm just thinking, man, you really start knocking off all these legacy characters to bring in new characters. I understand you can't have them play the character forever, but I don't know if people are going to have the same attachment. You know what I'm saying? If you move too
Yeah,
quickly, because I think that's been a problem with some of the shows if they've tried to move certain pieces out of the way, and a lot of casual viewers don't know these characters. I
yeah,
mean,
because
so yeah.
you're getting into such deep cut characters that, like, when we have to look up some of the backstory because even we're not familiar with it, the mainstream media has no idea who these people are.
Right, right. And so it's interesting that they want to rush and put all these characters out. Yet something like Spider-Man, and which I love, but like if they dropped in Miles Morales, okay, he's recognizable, but they seem to kind
Yeah,
of really slowly putting him in, which is fine because the others have been such hits. So that's I guess why I'm going with this is seeing that trailer, knowing that's going to kick off Phase 5, knowing Phase 4 is going to wrap up. We don't have and it's no, I'm not trying to be, but with Chadwick Boseman's passing, Black Panther is no longer there, and
hmm
that's no fault of anything, but his passing, we're moving on from him. We're getting a new Black Panther, we're getting a new Captain America, we have She-Hulk. Are these characters going to resonate with folks like the other ones did? And I know that takes time. It took 3 phases to build it up to get to
yeah,
Endgame. I get that. But it looks like with this Ant-Man trailer, it's like, man, it looks like this could be a pass the torch type of story that they preview.
yeah. Because look, when I first saw the trailer, it opens up with kind of some jokes and the Ant-Man humor you're used to, kind
Mhm.
of with Paul Rudd, and then it gets grim very very quick, and it is as soon as Kang shows up. So this is going to be your big introduction to Kang, which is going to set up Kang Dynasty. So like you said, I could see Scott Lang kind of biting the dust in this movie, them getting out of the quantum realm and being like, guys, we have a huge problem coming, and his name is Kang.
Yeah, yeah. I just if you move that fast and then you're just left with a couple of these legacy characters left, um, it'll be interesting. And we knew when we get the new Avengers, we'd have new characters. It just felt like look. I know it's been years since it started, but it feels like it all
Yeah.
happened so quick.
Because
It's
it all seems like it's been this phase, right? Like phase 4 is like, here's your next group, which
mhm,
is going to probably all the old ones are going to get phased out in phase 5.
right. When you take Iron Man off the board, Black Widow, Cap's gone, and you just start phasing them out. Like I said, I didn't want to talk about what they did with Hulk. That was a whole show. I got that out of my system. But I feel like Thor now is in a different. It's a different. Um, I get it. Why we know why. In the comics we have these new characters, new generations, and I think that's great. You've got to keep it going. I just wonder if it's going to resonate. I've said that a couple times, but is it going to resonate with people like the original characters did?
Yeah, look, let's switch it up to a trailer that dropped for the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which is as far from the Ant-Man trailer as you could possibly get. It is pretty much exactly what I wanted this to be, and it looks hilarious.
Yes, yes. And you know what makes it tough though? I was watching. It looks hilarious. Looks ridiculous. I'm glad that Kevin Bacon's getting work. No, I'm just kidding. He's in everything. But I like that they got him in here. I think what's killing me when I saw that trailer is knowing what's coming in the actual Guardians movie from everything
Yes.
coming.
Like,
So
this
I
is
was like,
just gonna add to the heartbreak that we know is gonna
yes,
eventually come in Guardians 3.
which is what James Gunn does. So I mean, that's kind of what he does. So I'm bracing for it. And he's warned people like it's not going to be a happy ending for everyone. This is going to be the last one for a lot of the characters. So to see this, it's a nice little pause or break. But then it's like, okay, you have that feeling, and then you're headed for the gut punch
Yeah.
when the next Guardians movie. But I agree with you with the trailer. I just watch it and go, oh, this is so funny. This is so reverent. This will be great. Oh God, they're all gonna die. You know, when we get to watch the movie, enjoy this because you're not gonna get much more. So yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and,
no,
and
it looked pretty ridiculous.
and like we said, coming off a Werewolf by Night, if it's anything even close to that quality, I'll be happy with this.
Yeah, man.
These shorts are really perfect. These little interstitial hour-long things, especially the holiday themed ones. I hope they do this for years to come.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm here for it. It looks great. Don't get me wrong. I just watching it, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so wonderful, and then it's just all gonna fall apart. Yep.
We also had another kind of little rumor about Vision possibly getting his own Disney Plus show. I'm assuming it's the White Vision. That's kind of just been that loose plot thread, and maybe we'll get a little update on that. But any interest? Because for me, it's
Depends.
kind of it seems random and not like something I need.
There you go. That's where I'm at right now. I'm going to see who else shows up there with him. Um, I still don't like what they did in Doctor Strange. I understood why with Scarlet Witch and was so distraught with her her children and all that stuff, but like she didn't really
Mhm.
acknowledge Vision like once. It's like, okay, you want to bring your kids back? Why can't you bring Vision back? Like it was
Yeah,
just a weird like you did a whole show where it was like it just floored
and then
her. So
not even a mention of like, hey, by the way, you guys remember Vision? Yeah, there's this white version of him. It's somewhere in the world. It's
right.
the most powerful android in the universe, and we don't know what it's doing.
Right. Someone's got to know where it is or have a handle on it. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I just feel like, I sort of feel like, and like, whatever, this is a new vision. This is the white vision. Maybe he's going to tell his old stories. If you're going to get to a West Coast Adventures, I'd be down with for that.
Yeah.
And so maybe if that's where the show goes, okay. But yeah, as far as like, okay, like I feel like his story was told, if he showed up as White Vision in a movie, that's one thing. I don't know if we need a whole show of it, but we'll see.
Yeah, look, Marvel has a plan for everything. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of different characters and some perfect tie into everything else. So we'll kind of wait and see.
Yep.
Let's jump over to Star Wars, which is usually all quiet, especially on the movie front. But they officially announced that Damon Lindelof is making a Star Wars movie, and it has been officially released by Lucasfilm. This is confirmed. No release date, no plot details. Early rumors are saying that it's set after the Skywalker saga, which would put it after Episode 9, and that a possibility of including characters we've seen before.
Yeah, I have no feeling about it. I'll wait till they drop some casting, and then I'll give my take on it because I'm curious. I do want something after the Skywalker saga. We have to go forward. I know we
Yeah.
love playing in pockets in Star Wars. We love playing in these pockets, but after a while, it's got to be super frustrating to have all these kind of rules or certain things dictated to make it work.
Yeah, because certain people can't see other characters. You can only do this because this contradicts this. Let them get out of that sandbox and let them kind of create new lore for Star Wars.
Yeah, because we talked about when Obi-Wan, which we both liked, but there were a couple moments where like, I don't know if that quite makes sense. I don't
Yeah, it's
really
very
buy that.
questionable.
Yeah, so you do that. One of the things I think that Star Wars is doing well now is with Andor is they're telling a very complex story on a smaller level,
Yeah.
and so there's a lot going on, but it totally can happen in the space it's allotted because you're not touching upon all these legacy type characters or legacy events.
Mhm.
Um, and so I feel like there is a freshness to it because you're not, oh, well, I'll tell you how this is going to end, so you don't really
Yeah.
have that yet. But yeah, when you start playing in these little boxes here, even Mandalorian, like I know there's a long time frame we haven't covered that Mandalorian takes place in, but it's going to get crowded quickly with Mandalorian and Ahsoka, kind of all playing that sandbox in that same spot. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping with this movie, I think it's the way to go. You can't screw up canon that way. You can have a little bit more drama and raise the stakes because you don't know how it's going to turn out, and we'll see. I'm interested who they bring back. I don't.
Well, and that was going to be my thing because when you think about it, yeah, going after this after the Skywalker saga is awesome, and like you said, we need to progress that story forward. But when this movie does release, you're going to have people questioning where is Rey, where is Finn, where is Poe? You know, is Chewbacca still around doing anything? You know, where are these characters? How far after Rise of Skywalker are you actually going to go?
And I read an article, and I'm not bringing up. I'm not bringing up Rise of Skywalker to upset anything or have that debate or talk about Last Jedi, but I do want to say something.
Look, we could do a 3-hour show about the sequels, and it
And we
wouldn't be
might,
enough time.
and we may, but I will say this. Someone brought up a good point. One of the things that, like it or hate it, but it was a good idea that could have moved Star Wars forward. Um, when Ryan Johnson kind of put that out there, that there were more force sensitive, that other people could be Jedis, there's things that there was
Yeah.
still this nature. That's how you could expand a smaller universe. Because one of the complaints when everything is, oh, you just kept it all. Once again, it's the same bloodline, same. It's a
Mhm.
large galaxy, but they all bump in. If you would have really leaned into that, which they totally just disbanded that, the third one, but if you
Yeah.
would have leaned into that, you could rebuild the Jedi Order. You could start, come up with a darker threat to take on the Jedi. You could even have this idea of, it doesn't be Palpatine, but anyone like coming back to raise this army and this ultimate like Sith army, but instead of fighting like the Republic, you're fighting Jedi or training Jedi. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that was one of the things I think did work because it set you up for the future of tracking down these force sensitive kids and restarting the Jedi Order, which is ultimately I think the movie that everyone wanted years ago with Luke doing and stuff like that. So you could
Yeah.
have went there and have Rey kind of rebuilding the order. They went away from it. So who knows? Maybe they lean back into that and come out because I do think that was a missed opportunity. Say what you want about the other movies. There's a lot to say. I do think that would have been a missed opportunity of how you expand it out. Because if you rebuild the Jedi Order, you also have to build up a threat big enough to take them out. So that's where it
Yeah.
gets exciting from the other side. But yeah, man, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. And look, one more quick Star Wars thing. Tales of the Jedi released. Very short episodes, animated content focusing 3 on Dooku, 3 on Ahsoka. What did you think about these?
So I'm watching them tonight, full disclosure, because I'm off tomorrow.
Okay.
So I was waiting. I actually was trying to finish. I wanted to re-listen to the Dooku audiobook
Mhm.
they put out. So I did do a re-listen on that because it takes place when he's younger up into where he's got his side ventures captured. And I want to see how that this is kind of like the in-between. So basically the audiobook, from what I got out of it and saw from the trailer, Tales of the Jedi, this is like the bookend. What did you think? What's your
I thought it was
spoiler-free feeling?
yes, no spoilers. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna, give any plot details away, but it is exactly what you think it is. It's more of Dave Filoni expanding that lore of that time. The animation's amazing. The music, I think it was done by Kevin Kiner, who did Rebels. He also did Clone Wars, is incredible. And look, these are stories that didn't necessarily need to be told, but it is a nice fill-in, and the way they kind of circle everything around and tie everything together for both characters, I thought was really great.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked. The more from listening to the audiobook and seeing the trailers, Dooku would have been an interesting. I mean, say what you want about the prequel trilogy with him and the Clone Wars, like whatever, but that would have been an interesting character to do a live action show on. Like we've
Oh yeah, it would have been great.
seen with Vader turn from a Jedi to the dark side, but then the redemption. Well, Dooku, there's no redemption. So
No.
what does that look like? And but he's also like a zealot, like where Vader was kind of taken by with Padme and all upset. He just does it because he feels that he's doing the right thing. Like I just think that would have been a story that they could have leaned into. Would have been cool with that character, and you could just do a younger version and everything that they could have done. So I'm glad they did it, but I always thought that would make a cool live action show.
And look, those themes that you're bringing up with Dooku and that kind of overall storyline, you get more depth in this show about that. So this does kind of fill in that little, what was going on with Dooku at these times.
Yeah, I'm interested to watch it because they go into his early life in the audiobook and kind of some of the stuff with his siblings and family. And one of the things that I think they don't do a good enough job, or they touch on it, but they really could do a deep dive, and maybe they do with the Ahsoka one too, because they show her kind of early on.
Mhm.
But what does it look like when you're pulling these kids away from their family to train them as Jedi's? Like, how does that affect them and all those? You know what I'm saying? Like, they could
Yeah.
really do a show where they lean into that and just follow a couple Jedi's and kind of their paths based on how they react, being kind of separated or pulled out. I'm just going there because watching Andor, I feel like with Andor, they've tried to make an adult, mature Star Wars show,
Yeah.
and I feel like there's room on Disney Plus to do these types of shows. So you can do something that's a little bit more intellectual and character studies based on these characters and how they react and how the force affects them and all that stuff. And really dive into it. So yeah, man, I'm excited to see it. So I'm glad it's good. I had no doubt with Filoni involved and the animation and music with Kevin Kiner, and I'm waiting. I want to just binge it. So I was trying to find a block of time. Tomorrow is going to be that block of time.
Yeah, that's what I did. It was like an hour and a half to binge watch everything. So if you can take the time to watch it all at once, just push through it because it's awesome.
Absolutely, and that is the plan, either tonight or tomorrow.
Well, look, that's pretty much it for toys and for TV and movies. Unless you have another thing you want to throw in for DC.
No, I got no DC, no Marvel. Like I said, I'm digging Andor. My wife can't stand it, so maybe that's a bonus. Because she's like, it's too slow. Like, because you got to pay attention. They're using adult words, and she got offended. I didn't mean it like that. She doesn't like politics. So I said, you got to understand the nuances and all this. And it's it's not really the show I think she was expecting. So
If you
she
go in expecting a Star Wars show, it's not what you expect because it is kind of that kind of side of the Star Wars universe you never see. You know, you're going to get Mon Mothma talking about politics, and you're going to get these little character moments with Cassian Andor where he's not really doing anything for the rebellion, and I like that fresh take.
Well, it feels like, God, this is going to sound so bad, but I'll say it. It feels like the episodes of the Clone Wars that I found boring in animation, but I find riveting in live action, where it's all the
Yeah,
politics.
yeah, I know what you mean.
And I love the
Or-
Clone Wars, but there are some episodes where it's very heavy on exposition and politics, and I'm like, and
yeah,
maybe
it's
it's just
like Padme meeting with a diplomat from another like
diplomat,
it's like
yeah.
planet that you just don't care about.
And you get 4 episodes of it, but then when I watch this and I'm getting a 3 episodes arc and I'm digging it. Like, and I think that's just a testament to some of the performances and some of the nuances. So yeah, I'm digging it in live action. It's much to me. It's much. It's more strongly executed in this show than it was in the prequels. All the politics
Yeah.
and all that other stuff. It was clumsy in the prequels, and I love George
Oh yeah,
Lucas,
it's
but it
all
was
over the
clumsy.
place.
Yeah, but I feel like with this, no, they're doing a good job, kind of doing what they need to do.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to the set design in Andor because some of the locations and sets, like like the prison in the most recent episodes,
Mhm.
even like the Imperial base where like all like the data entry is done. The set designs are so cool on these places.
Well, I was laughing because someone said the set design, not the set design, but the design of the prison from the show resembled the hotel rooms in Galaxy's Edge for the Star
They just
Cruiser.
filmed on location.
Right. I'm like, who's gonna pay to sit in a prison cell? And they showed a picture of a dude sitting in his bed in the Star Cruiser, and it looks like that freaking room from Andor. I mean, it doesn't have the toilet, it doesn't have the little,
Yeah.
plate you take out, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, like I don't know if I want to pay thousands of dollars to sit in a prison cell in Star Wars.
Oh,
So
coming soon. The Andor prison experience for the price of
right.
$5,000 a night.
Right. If I wanted that, I'd go get, an interior room of a cruise ship and just sit in a little but yeah, man, I thought that was funny, but I'm digging it. I like how they're doing these arcs in 3 episodes. So we're going to get the final, and then I'm sure the final three will kind of lead you into season 2. So, but I'm digging it so far. Even if my wife's bored, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, same here. So look, let's
Yeah.
jump into let's jump into the part of the show where we question our decisions and choices and what we're doing because we're going to talk about toys.
Mm.
And this is where it's going to get very interesting, especially I believe on your side.
Yeah, and the thing is, I can't make this up. Can you still see me and hear me?
Yeah, I can see you.
I'm gonna leave the studio and I'm gonna come right back. Okay, and I'll tell you
All
why
right.
in a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to
Okay.
lose Will for.
No, you're not going to lose me. It says TV and movies. I can't adjust anything. Can you adjust anything in the studio? My tabs are frozen. I can't get to the document. I'm flying blind on whatever we're talking about now. This is when the show gets awesome.
Now we're completely unhinged.
Oh yeah, nothing's working, and I'm afraid to do.
There we go.
Oh, did you do that?
There we go.
You did that. Yeah, I can't move it, man. Yeah, it just okay, good. I'm locked out here, so I don't know if I'm getting my hand slapped. That maybe the Marvel police are coming for me, the Star Wars police, but yeah,
they're like, this guy's too grumpy right now. Shut him down.
Oh,
get him off the internet.
Superman hat, and he's scowling the whole time. He's playing with toys, ignoring Matt. I'm playing with Hawkman, Deathstroke, and who else? They got Etrigan the Demon over here. They're pretty cool scenario. Okay, let's dive in. Toys. Speaking of toys.
All right, let's jump into the first one, and this is kind of a tease coming off of the last episode we did. Eternia has been fully funded. It hit its goal. You know, it's starting to hit some of the stretch goals. I know you were in a big debate last time we talked about Eternia. Are you buying it? Are you not buying it? You know, I know we went back and forth for multiple days via text. Everybody wants to know, Will, did you buy Eternia?
So I need to do a public service announcement before I answer that question. These payment plans are gifts from the devil, because once they posted on there that you had a payment plan option, I was in. Sucker. I don't know where I'm putting this thing.
It's massive. Like watching some of the videos that they've released, it is huge. It's a really impressive piece.
Yes, I may live in it when it gets here, because my wife may kick me out into it. You know, college is overrated, so my son can fend on his own. But it's coming. I did bite the bullet. It's going to be about a year, so I do have a year to clear some of the stuff out. So that's kind of what I'm going to be working on tomorrow. What am I getting out of here? What am I keeping? But yeah, man, I'm going to actually probably in the corner over there. There's a corner over there, but I'm probably going to try to build a ledge or a table that comes out and just put it up on there. I might just do a whole, Motu setup there, because I don't know what else I'm going to do. I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those things like, I don't know what to do with it. And then, well, if I don't really want it, I could always sell it. Like, but
that is true.
I don't know, but it was too much. I watched the video. I saw the live stream the other day. I'm excited. I do not have buyer's remorse. Not yet.
That's good. That's good. So
I will want to see the box, but yeah.
Or when that first payment kicks in, and you're like, "Why did I do this?"
Yeah. Well, I made one right away. Like, all right, let's start chipping away. So I'm gonna be aggressive with it, because my goal is to have it paid off here shortly. But yeah, and it's like I could buy it outright, but like I said, everything else hidden. I said I don't need to just further throw into debt, and let's space this out a little bit. So yeah, I bought the bullet. I'm a sucker, but I've got above me here. You can't see it, but I do have my little Masters Universe Classic Eternia poster with all the stuff. So I was staring at it as we were getting down to the wire for the King Grayskull, and I would break my heart if I keep looking at that poster.
I can see your face of like the thought bubbles like popping out of the side of your head. Like, you don't need it. You're staring at the poster.
Oh, and the cat's just like, buy me. And like, I'd ultimately have to give up, man. So yeah, I have to, I'm excited though. It looks sick.
Well, look, while we're on the topic of this, I'm going to throw another one at you, because this is another one we had talked about. I want to say around San Diego Comic-Con time, because that's when it first got showed off. The Mondo Battle Cat, another premium, awesome-looking figure, another one that's very expensive, and another one for a franchise that you love. Did you buy this one too?
So, Matt, vacations are overrated. And so I decided I didn't need one this winter. Yeah, I bought these payment plans are the devil's playthings. Now I'll say this, with that one, it's just 3 quick payments. I already made one. I got
That's
2
not
more.
bad.
So it's not bad. It'll be paid off by next month. But yeah, it was the same. I thought it was about $100 less than it was. The problem is I have no self-control. The problem I had, the problem is I need to grow the heck up. But
we're the problem, not the companies taking advantage of us.
The problem is you're pushing 50 and you're playing with toys. That's the number one problem. But we'll get there at another date. That's a whole other show. The
That's a
problem
very dark
isn't.
episode. That's
It
a
is a
very dark
dark
episode.
episode. That is the look in the mirror and figure out where you went wrong. Um, to get that deluxe He-Man, which I also bought way back when, and not have him
Mhm.
be able to sit on Battle Cat, I just couldn't live with myself. And
No, because
so
you would go on Instagram and Twitter, see all the great pictures people are taking, and you'd be crying in the corner. I can't do that myself.
the figure itself has to look like I will say this, and I don't even have it in hand. And I know they've started shipping the Shira that I passed on, which
Mhm.
looks great, by the way. It looks great, but I'm not, not that Shira wasn't, I don't nothing against it. I had the Masterverse sitting up here, but I didn't go there. But to have He-Man and not have Battle Cat, and not only that, this Battle Cat looks like one of
It's
forget
incredible.
Battle Cat. It looks it's going to be a centerpiece. Probably gonna be the nicest thing I own. Probably next to the He-Man. It probably is. It's going to be the nicest toy the piece that I own. Just looks incredible. It looks incredible. So, yeah, I'm going to sell a bunch of stuff. I decided I didn't need a bunch of stuff. We talked about in other shows being completionists on certain lines, and those days are over. It's going to be very few completionists, if any.
It
And
has to be in today's market.
it is, and I'm going to start moving stuff out of here. I'm only going to keep what I really enjoy. Um, will I get most of certain things? Yes. Will I be, but like I don't need every variant in the world. I say that as they put out more Super 7 Ninja Turtle variants. I'm like, oh my God, Surfboard Mikey, I'm taking them. But not counting Ninja Turtles, I don't need it. Although I do want to buy the Ghost Jaga, but for Thundercats. But that's it. That's the only
Yeah,
exception.
the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, right?
Oh, it looks so good. Yeah, it's it's so good. But that's the Jaga I want. Like that's the one from the show. He's the dead,
Mhm.
he's already dead. So yeah, there's stuff out there, but I'm cutting back. Like the classified, I love classified. I love some of my figures I have. I don't need every single one. I
Yeah.
bought two ones recently. It was like a blue Ninja 2-pack and a character from the comics. I have no attachment to. The only reason I bought it is because it's
Just to complete it, yeah.
just to complete it. And I'm like, I had buyer's remorse instantly. I'm like, they may be going back because I bought it. And I'm like, why? Like, I have no excitement. Like, I opened Storm Shadow, it was awesome. I opened like certain characters. It's amazing. Cobra Bat, what have you. I opened some characters. I'm like, I don't even know who this is.
Yeah, I
So
don't care.
figure's fantastic, but I don't need everything. I want what makes me happy. So I'm gonna cut back on some lines. I'm go same thing with some Master Universe, kind of Masterverse and Origins. I don't need every single one. If I
Mhm.
don't know the character, I don't necessarily need it. And like I said, you hit on it, man. You can't be a completionist in today's market. There's just too
Dude,
much. And if
I
you
got
collect
to
more
that
than one
point.
line, you're in trouble.
I got to that point with the Black Series. Like, look, I love Carl Weathers. I don't need 4 different Grief Karga Mandalorian figures. I'm sorry,
Right.
I don't. Like,
Right.
and I was buying complete cases. So, I'm getting 3 stormtroopers and, 2 Grief Kargas, but I really only want the Mandalorian and the Akbar. Like,
Right. Yeah, the days of me army building anything are over. Like the
oh
Joe's
no.
just put a Viper 3-pack out. Looks incredible. Look, it's a fantastic figure. I'm not army building. Like I'm not there. Like I'm not actively
Mhm.
playing with my GI Joes in the basement. I'm setting them up and they're standing there, saluting me. So, it's really just cutting back because when you start looking at those higher end items, attorneys are really higher end. It's just a higher end price point. But like something like from Mondo, where you start looking at hot toys and things like that. Like I'm so looking forward to it. But yeah, stuff's got to go just to make room and just to pay for it. Like I don't need all. I'm really just going to start. I cut back on so many pre-orders, man. So much.
You have to. It's like we've talked about. You got to go back, take inventory, kind of, trim the fat on some of these orders,
I
and just
really
kind
did.
of, really think about it.
I'm getting there. Plus the fact too, I'm saying all this stuff, and Super Seven keeps pushing back the Thunder Tank and the Party Wagon. There's two other
Yeah.
pieces. Where am I going to put? Which I can't
Yeah,
wait for. Don't
exactly.
get me wrong; they're going to be tremendous. But they got pushed back. They got pushed back. One got pushed back to August. The other like April. I did like a backflip. Like thank God my credit card thanks you
You
between
know what's going to
Attorney
happen?
and Battle.
They're both going to ship in March.
Yeah, no, it's in December as I'm trying to Christmas shop. Yeah, it's a lot, man. So yeah, the two big ones, it's fantastic. But I'm selling most stuff off. Like I'm in the process here of moving stuff out, and I'm going to be redoing stuff actually tomorrow and this weekend, moving stuff out, and I'm prepping for the big ones coming in.
Yeah. Look, you brought up Hot Toys earlier. I do want to give a shout out to their Green Goblin No Way Home Willem Dafoe figure. If you haven't had a chance to look at this, go look at it. The detailing in the face. I mean, we all know Willem Dafoe with that maniacal smile. They did an amazing job on this figure, and like you said, the payment plans are the gift of the devil because instead of $450 up front, it's 4 payments of 115 bucks.
Yep,
So
that's how
that's
they
where I
get
went.
you. That's what you get you. You know, in the back of my mind, I got my dad and my grandma. I'm like, well, if you can't buy it cash, you can't afford it. But I'm like, not today's world, not with the payment
I'm like,
plan.
I
So
can buy it cash 4 times
yeah,
for $100.
absolutely. Let's watch it happen. So yeah, man, that looks cool. They got his teeth just right.
Yeah. Let's jump into some Hasbro stuff because let's start off with possibly the weirdest toys I've ever seen. The Cobra Kai Power Rangers crossover figures. Why do these exist? Who's asking for this? Is this a comic book that I don't know about, or is this like some kind of fan fiction that people want? Why?
I don't know. Hey, we gave hate a couple weeks back to the Stranger Things turtle crossovers. Remember?
Yes.
And I will say this: I was wrong on one part. They actually took the classics turtles mold and made them with their original. I think they had the red bandanas. So honestly, if you bought them, I don't want paying that much money. But I kind of wish I had the turtles from them because they're the classics. So I'm like, okay, there's some
Yeah.
value. I don't know what the value is in this. I don't have any link how Cobra Kai and Power Rangers tie in together.
It makes no sense. Look, I love Cobra Kai. I like the Power Rangers. I never need them to be in the same room together, let alone a figure of a foot of like a putty soldier from Power Rangers dressed up in the skeleton costume from Karate Kid 1.
Yeah, yeah. Which on paper sounds awesome, but I agree you don't need it.
I mean,
Ah,
look, do I want to see Johnny Lawrence fight Lord Zed at some point? I
of
don't know.
course.
Maybe it sounds weird.
Maybe that's the movie they're coming out, Cobra Kai movie. They couldn't do that in the TV show, so that's going to be the live action movie we
This was
talked
like their
about.
early focus group. They're like, let's see how people receive these, and then we'll let them know that this is a crossover film.
Yeah, here we go. We got this in the can. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. There's some weird stuff out there.
Yeah, so look, Hasbro was also kind of all over the place. MCM, which is a comic convention in, I believe it's London. They
Hmm.
had some reveals there. There was the Pulse Premium event, kind of for Hasbro Pulse members only, where it was a live stream. They revealed some stuff there. Anything from either of these stood out to you?
No. There was a Transformers HasLab that a phenomenal. They're doing a second character from
Mhm.
Victory, so of course I bit the bullet on that because I'm a sucker. But the reveals from the MCM, nothing. Like once again, it's characters I don't have any attachment to. They're later on characters. They're not the original, cast. So um,
Yeah.
it was actually it was funny, man. It was the reveals from the MCM of the Joes where I remember texting you and be like, I think I'm done being a completionist because they put out like a 2 or 3 pack of female Cobra Troopers. Now, no knock
Mhm.
to anyone who wants female Cobra Troopers, but it's like I don't feel the need. I've already got 3 Cobra Troopers sitting there. Yes, they're male. Do I need female? Did I need 3 male Cobra Troopers? No. Do I need 3 female? No, it's to the point now where it's like we're just making characters to make characters. We're just repainting. I think it's cool for people who want it, but I'm like, I don't necessarily need a refigure. They released Big Ben. I have no attachment to Big Ben. Um, yeah, so I don't know. And I know there was a ton of, and I don't know if it was that or it was afterwards, but a bunch of Star Wars stuff got released for Jedi. Was
Yeah.
it at MCM they announced it and then did the live
So,
stream
so
for the?
look,
I got
I've ripped apart.
confused because so much got dropped.
Yeah, so look, I've ripped apart Black Series for a while now, coming off of San Diego. Then you have all these weird holiday releases that nobody really cares about. Kind of just what are they doing? For MCM, their Star Wars reveals, they killed it. They knocked it out of the park for me. You got like the
Is
Mara
that when they
Jade
put
figure.
That's when they put the comics in the book. Is that when they? Okay.
Yeah, so you got the Mara Jade, you got the Dr. Aphra, you got the Darth Malik, Bastilla Shan from Old Republic. These figures look awesome, and this is the stuff that the fans wanted. And look, I pre-ordered every single one that they announced during that event,
That's
so
good.
they
Yeah.
did their job and sucked me back in.
That's good though. I mean, I don't understand what it took so long. Like
Yeah,
I don't understand I didn't realize they had not released. So this is the first Mara Jade figure they've released Black Series.
Yeah, because they did a couple expanded universe ones. I know they did like a Jaina Solo kind of from the novels where she has like the lightsaber and stuff, but they never did the Mara Jade.
See, when they did the comic adaptation to Heir to the Empire and they released that Luke and stuff like that,
Mhm.
I thought they would have done a couple more in that line. I guess not. Yeah, man. There's some characters out there, but see, here's the thing. I agree with you. Those reveals were awesome, and then they come back and you get like a bunch of random like, here's Andor in a trooper uniform. Here's a, and
Yeah,
it
or
goes back to
here's
like
your
we don't need every
paint
variation.
application for Boba Fett. Like,
Right. Like they go back and here's my thing. We shouldn't be getting any characters from Andor yet. Let's see
no.
it. It was the same thing with like Kenobi. If you wanted to put out like a Kenobi, here's Vader, then let the show finish, then put the characters out. One of the things that build us in Star Wars is the anticipation. Once you get attached to a character, you want it. Like I think that's why
Yeah.
the novels, the comics, the old class video games releasing characters in there. Um, people will go crazy. Like if they come out and they do like a deluxe like Star Killer figure, it'll
Yeah.
sell out in like 2 seconds. You know,
Honestly,
it's so
one that I want, and I hope they do it because they kind of seem to be going with these deep cut characters. Give me a Black Series 6-inch Dash Rendar figure from the Shadow of the Empire game.
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
like I would love that figure.
yeah. Well, and they if so, I'll tell you what's cool too. And this is where they missed the boat with me. And we can get off this. I don't want to go deep dive, but I got to share this. We were killing the Halloween figures, right? We're killing the holiday Halloween figure, the Christmas and the Halloween.
There's so many of them.
And I know it's expanded universe. I know it's not canon anymore, but there's a novel. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's something troopers, but basically it's like zombie stormtroopers.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, I do remember that story.
do you know how cool it would to get a box set of like ravaged, bloodied stormtroopers, and then
Like a four pack, you know.
eating like a Wookiee arm, and like Chewbacca, and like Han and Chewbacca make appearance in the novel. They come on the ship and blow them away. How freaking cool would that be for Halloween? Give me a zombie stormtrooper. I got that to me. Do something like that for your exclusives and stuff like that. Like I don't want a Boba Fett that's all black and being like, oh, he's in disguise. Like I just,
Yeah,
you know,
he's really hiding.
yeah, so I don't know, but yeah, look, there's been some cool releases. I just feel that like you're right that what they were showed at the MCM were it was sort of like out of left field. It's like, oh, we better come up with something, and
Yeah,
then they put figures out
and
that
I'm
people want.
surprised they dropped all these characters at once, right? These seem kind of like something you would put into a wave to be like, oh, you know what? Like here's a Darth Malik, and people be like, oh, okay, great. And then here's your Mara Jade. No, they were like, let's just empty the case, throw whatever we have at them because we know what this is what people want, and we've been getting a lot of bad press recently for our releases, so let's get back in the good graces.
Yeah, and that's one way to do it, man. Like you do those deep cut characters that diehard Star Wars fans have an affinity for. But yeah, it's yeah, you're right, man. That was a pretty money release. That to me that should maybe been your PulseCon releases.
Yeah, yeah. So look, I think we'd also be remiss if we didn't mention a little RIP, if you will, to the Ghost Rider HasLab. It didn't make it. I don't think this really surprised anybody because it kind of just died out about halfway through. I think it ended with like 4,800 votes, 4,900 votes, and it needed upwards of 9,000 to get it. So, another one bites the dust for HasLab, and it seems like they're kind of going to have to go back to the drawing board and really rethink what they're doing with some of these.
Yeah, I'm looking right now when I'm looking. So a couple things, and we're going to go backwards for 1 second. We talked about Eternia. One of the things
Mhm.
Eternia did is they did an early bird thing, very similar to what HasLab did with the Robbie Reyes figure Fiasco.
Yeah.
And then same thing. If you backed it within the first week, you got Grayskull or whatever. Um, if you didn't or you backed it after that, you would get Grayskull, but you still get the things. So what happened with that is the fans were in an uproar. So now they came out because it already hit the first two tiers and said, "Well, we changed our mind now. If it hits the 10,000, which is the third tier, it's the other figure. everyone who backs it gets King Grayskull. So they did back. Now,
Yeah.
people who backed it early were like, oh, why? That's not fair. But then other people are like, no, it is fair because we want all the figures. So if this is what pushes it over the top, so be it. You know what I'm saying? If it's
Yeah,
if we got to
I
give
kind of agree on
everyone one
that.
figure, yeah. And I was saying if we're gonna if it's gonna take to get all the figures for people to get, let them have King Grayskull. At least we get all the figures. It's not,
Mhm.
we're not losing anything. And if we don't, then we're the only ones to get it. Um, they screwed up Robbie Reyes with that early bird stuff. It
Yeah,
started with the bad
100%.
taste, and then when they came back and said, "Well, we can give you this head, and
Yeah,
you
we'll
can
give you the
plug
head
it here,"
sculpt.
was sort of like a big kick in the pants to me. They so Transformers, and I'm trying to get on now, but I'm like so frozen. So Transformers did its next HasLab. It's about
Mhm.
53% funded. I'm trying to get an answer. But one of the things I thought they did that was smart, that I wish that Marvel would have done, or even if we go back to the dreaded, ill-fated Rancor, is
Yeah.
they dropped all the tiers first thing, so you knew what you were getting. So even they didn't make these tiers a shock or surprise. So it wasn't like, oh
Mhm.
well, I'll do it, but it's got to be the tiers. It's got to be that. No, they came out and said, okay, if you do this, you'll get this is tier. This we hit this number, you're gonna get this. We hit this, and to put that out there and have it be, and there's still a mystery tier, but put a bunch of the stuff out there. To me, that's the way you do it, because you drum up excitement. I think a lot of people saw that price tag, saw the size of the car, and probably like, oh,
Mhm.
that's it. Where if they would have laid everything out and you realize you're getting all these figures and all these other things, you'd be like, oh, you know what, that justifies the price. And I
Yeah,
just it,
or even if they chopped it down to 275. You know,
correct.
275, maybe you take off one of the extra figures. I still think that would have got funded, but 350 is a lot. And like you said, it's just a car. I mean, I saw it in person at New York Comic Con. Looks great. And like I said, if it was 225, 250, I probably would have backed it. But at 350, I didn't really have much interest.
Yeah, yeah, and that was the thing. I think one of the things with the his tank price tag, which people were, oh, it's a little high, and then it back quickly with the HasLab Transformers new one. That's still under $200. So I think, especially nowadays with the economy and everything worried about, it's the money, that the price tag matters. If you're not getting your value for your money, people are just not going to just pay anything anymore just because they have to have it.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I'm flying blind here. My computer has completely frozen.
Oh, that's
So,
impressive because we can still see and hear you. So on
good.
our end, it's good.
I'm hoping so. I can't see or hear anything. So I was going to actually throw out there, maybe we wrap up, not wrap up the segment, but when we wrap up toys, take a break and do a part two, maybe tomorrow or in a few days, just to do, because we have a lot to say about comics and some video games, but I can't see anything at this point. I am completely frozen out.
Yeah, so look, let's chop the episode off here. It's already been a long one. There's been a lot to talk about. We have a good amount of gaming news. We'll get into that on the next
Oh yeah,
episode.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
A
yeah.
couple more stories that kind of leaked in for different, there's Marvel show rumors, there's a couple movie things we want to get into. So this is kind of part one of just a giant episode of everything.
Right, and hopefully I'll be unfrozen so I can continue on. Um, it's I opened up another tab and it's just frozen on that tab, so I have no idea what's going on. The reason this is taking so long to get back up and running is because of these technical difficulties. Now I think I've really upset my computer. But I will say this: can I do a tease for part two?
Absolutely.
And I don't want to dive deep, and I can't see your reaction, so it's good. So I don't know where you're going with this. So remember how I said Black Adam just getting completely killed is the worst game ever?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So that's the tease I have is I can't wait to talk about Gotham Knights and all the stuff going on with that as well. Because we started last week about the frames issue,
Hmm.
or 2 weeks ago, and now the reviews are out. But I've played a lot of it, so I have some thoughts and some things I want to say.
I'm excited
And
for that because I skipped Gotham Knights right now because I knew I was going to get into God of War and I'm going to dedicate a ton of time to that. Gotham Knights is going to be after God of War for me, so I'm excited to hear where you land on this.
I've got some things to say, and little tease is, I may sound like a little bit of a broken record with the Black Adam stuff, but I got some things to say. I'll be fair, but I got some things to say, and I'm, I just, I got some things to say about it. But that's my tease. I can't wait to dive in, and I'm finally getting pretty much caught up with Dark Crisis and where they're going with Lazarus Planet and DC. So I actually have DC comic news and knowledge. I actually know what's going on, which is I'm getting caught up here.
Ladies and gentlemen, if that doesn't get you to want to come back for part 2 of this episode, I don't know
Come
what
on,
will.
yeah,
But we're going to have a ton of stuff, video games, comics, all that good stuff. But thank you for tuning in. As always, click like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for stopping by.
absolutely. See you on the flip side, and yeah, Matt, you're gonna have to completely shut us down. What was that?